Ireland's lighthouses are now automated and unmanned. The foghorns are silent, and there's a danger that these iconic structures will fall to ruin. John Eagle has been photographing them for many years from both helicopter and land. He's published 2 books on Ireland's lighthouses and also runs tours to them. I asked John why he started photographing the lighthouses.
Because they don't move, you know. They just stand out there on the rocks, and everything around them moves. You see, they're stationary. They're not like human beings. You don't have to make them pose or anything. They're doing the same thing all the time, and it's nice to photograph all the wave movements going around them, and the waves smashing into them. And there's always the clouds and the light, and they just make interesting subjects, you know. And
have you been doing it for a long time?
It's about 25 years, I suppose, really, yeah. It's a bit of an addiction, really, and I thought I'd given up. I thought I managed to finish it when I made a postcard of every one of them, and I thought I'd stopped then, but I still kept doing it, you know. And then my second book, I signed a contract with Collins to do my second book, and the Ireland's Lighthouse is a photo essay, you know, and I had to take a few more pictures for that book, and because some of the pictures weren't good enough, you know, and so I remember going up to County Mayo, to Clare Island to retake some pictures there, and it was good fun, you know.
And what attracted you to them initially? Have you always lived by the sea?
No, I was born inland, you see, so it's always very exciting to come out to the seaside and see the magic of the sea, you know, and the waves, and you know, I enjoy that, you know.
And where do you come from?
I come from Oxford, in England.
Okay, and are you living on the Beara Peninsula for long?
April will be 20 years.
And do you know anything about the history of the lighthouses there?
A little bit, you know. I'm not very technically minded. I gather all the technical information for the lighthouses from Irish Lights, and then I put it all into my postcards and into my books. I mean, I know the Fastnet has been just celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2004, and I produced a poster of the Fastnet for that year, and I also had the picture on the cover of the Beam magazine, which is the official Irish Lights magazine. So people were getting bored with me in 2004.
And you've gone out with the Irish Lights Commissioners on their helicopter to see a lot of the rocks, the offshore rocks.
Yeah, I've done quite a few flights at this stage.
And what's the experience of that like?
It's good fun, you know. I remember the very first time when I went off to the Fastnet, and sitting in the front seat and watching the ground disappear was very exciting. And I've done quite a bit of mileage since I've flown out to quite a few of the lighthouses, and I keep going back to them at any given opportunity I get, you know. I'm hoping to do a flight in about a month's time, and I'm trying to get a new aerial shot of the Mizzen Bridge. I've got aerial pictures of the old one, but I mean that's been replaced now by this fancy new one, and I want to do an aerial shot of it. And I've been trying all last year, but every time the helicopter comes down, the rain and clouds come with it, and so I'm just hoping that maybe in a month's time, when the helicopter doesn't come down so often these days, you know, because they have to restrict it because it costs so costly to use. So I'm hoping when it comes down in a month's time, I'll be able to, the weather will improve and I can get out and take some shots.
I saw one of your photographs of the Bull Rock with a very red background, a red sun going down in the background. How did you take those photographs? Were they from the sea?
I took that one from behind my house. I took it with a long lens, and then I enlarged the picture when I got it. So it's actually, that picture's quite grainy because I enlarged it so much to get the thing, you know. When you show it as a picture on the screen, it comes out of lots of little pixel squares, you know, because I had to put it in so much.
And you also have one of the ruin of the lighthouse on the Calf Rock.
Oh yeah, but we go out. You see, I go out there quite often now. Originally, I went out with Mick Keneally and we flew around it and took a few pictures. But now I'm doing these lighthouse tours. I go out there quite often because the tour goes. We go out to the Bull Rock in Sean Harrington's rib. Sean Harrington on Bear Island. He's got a rib, and we use that to go out to the Bull Rock, and we go right past the calf. You see, so there's a golden opportunity to take a whole load of pictures of it. And I did a whole load of pictures last August, and did a whole load of pictures a couple of years ago when we did the last tour. Do
you know the story of the lighthouse on the Calf Rock?
It was a sad story. They actually had a distress. The people on the land, they thought they were in trouble before the disaster, and a crew, I think, went out to check on them, and they found that everybody was safe and sound. You know, there was no problem. And on the way back, the people in the boat, I think the boat sank and the lives were lost. But that was awful. But what followed was when the actual tower got destroyed. I don't think any lives were lost because they hid inside the tower or in the sheds when the cast iron, it was made of cast iron, you see, and it snapped off. And I think they were on the rock afterwards for several days before they actually got taken off, because it's very difficult to get people off that rock. There's lots of steps coming down the side of the rock, but it's very difficult to get off and on it. So and it's because that one snapped that the fastnet was changed. The fastnet was also cast iron, and when the calf snapped, they decided to replace the fastnet, and they built a granite tower there. But I mean, they were told not to put it on the Calf Rock to begin with. They were told to put it on the Bull Rock. But Trinity, I mustn't say too much because I won't get into trouble with Trinity. But they were told to put it on the Bull Rock in the beginning, but they didn't. They put it on the Calf, and but they put it on the Bull eventually, so it's now on the Bull Rock.
So it was the people who went out to rescue or to bring in the lightkeepers from the Calf Rock. They were the ones whose boat got into trouble and they drowned.
They did, yeah. But this wasn't the day when the mighty storm hit the Calf Rock and destroyed the tower. This was actually prior to that. I can't tell you how many years before it was, but it was before that happened. There was a tragedy before it. You know, it was sad tales from the Calf Rock. Like it's received. It was quite awful for the people down there in the 1880s. You know, quite an awful story. It's very unpleasant for the people there.
I've never seen a photograph of the ruin of the lighthouse except the photograph you have.
Oh yeah, we see. I go out to try and I'm like one of those messengers who go out to bring you pictures of the lighthouses. You see.
And when you go on the tour out to the Bull Rock, you can go through the rock under the Bull Rock lighthouse. Is that correct?
Yes. There's a hole going all the way through the rock, and last August when we went out there, I said, could we go through the tunnel? And actually the person on the boat didn't realise there was a tunnel in it. And so we came round the front of it, and we saw this big gaping hole through there. And there's this wave coming towards us, like, through the thing, and it looked quite scary. He said, this will be all right. And we went straight through. It was really exciting, you know. Yeah, it's one of the highlights of last year was going through the tunnel of the Bull Rock.
And the Fastnet, do you get a lot of people that go out with you on the tours to the Fastnet? Is that the one that has the most attraction?
It is, because it's so famous, you see. I mean, it's had a lot of publicity. I mean, you know, tragedy again at sea. You know, the yachts that came over, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, when they had the yacht race from Cowes, and all those yachts went missing. The word Fastnet was mentioned all the time, you see, so people know it. And then only last summer, another yacht capsized out there, didn't it? So the Fastnet gets a lot of attention. I think mainly to yachts, you know. And also it was called the Teardrop, you see, because it was the last lighthouse that the people going across to America saw on the boats, you know, like the Titanic and stuff, you know. And so they shed a tear when they saw the light of the Fastnet, and they say goodbye to Europe, you know, and they went across to the big new world. All those hamburgers and everything. Sorry, no, they didn't have hamburgers back then. Sorry, no.
But yeah, have you ever experienced any danger yourself when you go out there and see it in front of you? Have you ever come across bad seas or moments where you've been in fear of your own life?
Not really, no. The helicopter sometimes moves a bit in the wind, and the pilot just reassures me that that's perfectly all right, you know. I mean, he doesn't like Inniskilling, for instance. Inniskilling is the one out in the Blasket Islands. You see in Ryan's Daughter, you know, when they're waiting for the bus stop with Sarah Miles and Robert Mitchum, and they're at the bus and they're about to leave at the end of the movie, and you see the big pointed rock in the background. That's Inniskilling. And the lighthouse on there is very difficult to land on, because of the updrafts coming up, and they can throw the helicopter off course as it comes into land. And the pilots don't like that one very much. And it's, you know, and also that's another lighthouse that you wouldn't normally see except for me, because I went out there to take the picture. Like, because when you're at Dingle, at Dunquin, looking out, you can't see the lighthouse. So you need me. See, this makes me important to bring back pictures of these hidden gems around the Irish coast.
And you've taken a lot of aerial shots from the Irish Lights helicopters.
I have. I've done quite a few, yeah. I think I was the first really sort of do it seriously. You know. Trailblazing, as one other photographer calls it. He might listen to this, mightn't he? I don't know, but Peter Cox out in Disney, I think Bellefonte, has a place in Killarney, and he's been out as well, and he calls me the Trailblazer because I was the one who went out, did it all to begin with, you know.
And of course, you've taken they've all been made into postcards as well. Yes,
I made a set of postcards of there's 99 in a complete set of postcards. It's that has to be classed as a hobby. Like you can't. It's not a business. It's there's not enough money to be made at postcards to call it a business. Even when postcards were selling at their height, it still wasn't a business. The cost of them, compared to how much you sell them for, it's too narrow. You just can't make money. But you do it because, as somebody once told me, it keeps the flag flying. You know, it shows you're still there. You know. And I enjoy it. I have lots of collectors around the world, and they contact me they go to my website and they order the postcards straight off my website, and I send them out. And I numbered all of them, you see, and so they pick the numbers that they haven't got, and then they come and get them off my site, and you know. And it's good fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy it more because it is really sort of a hobby than serious business, you know.
Are you sad now that the foghorns were turned off, and you know that more and more lighthouses are becoming well, they're unmanned, but they're becoming more and more automated?
I think it is sad. Yes, it is. It's mothballing the lighthouses is quite sad. They've just done Ruan Corrig in Bantry Bay. They've put a LED light outside it, and with that switched on, the tower will then just, you know, become mothballed, and the light will be extinguished in the tower. It's at the old tower, which has stood there for over 100 years, and it'll be that light will be no longer happen. And they're going to do that to several of the lights around the coast. I think Skellig Michael is next, or maybe the Bull Rock is next. And you see that light that's on Ruan Corrig now. It's no one needs to go back there for 20 years. It takes no servicing or anything, so that saves Irish Lights a fortune. Irish Lights, I think, you know, they've got to cut down their costs. And in America they were doing it, and the big marches of Save Our Lighthouses and everything, which is all very well, but Irish Lights, you know, in fairness, you know, they have to cut their costs. and that helicopter costs a fair amount of money to run. It's a staggering amount of money, actually.
Are people in the area, do they feel they're losing a service?
Well, they're not losing a service. I mean, the service is still there. I suppose jobs will be lost because there's not so much maintenance needed at the lighthouses, you see.
Can you just tell me about your tour? You're going on a tour out to Loop Head, and you're hoping to get people to go on the tour.
This year, I've got 2 tours booked. I've got a northern tour in August, where we're going up the west coast again, and then we're going around by Mayo and Donegal, and we're spending 3 nights at Blackhead this time, and then we're coming back down to Dublin. Okay, that tour is fully booked out, and then I've got a tour in June coming up. We're starting in near Ennis, and we're going out to Inisheer, and then we're going down to Loop Head for a tour around Loop Head Lighthouse because it's open to the public, and then we'll be coming back, making our way down to into Kerry for going out to Skellig Michael, see the puffins, and then we're coming down to Beara, and we'll be spending a couple of nights in Beara, and we're going out on a boat trip out to the Bull Rock, and I think we're going to do the Fastnet in one day. You know, we're going to do Bull Rock and Fastnet in one day, and then the next day we go down to Galley Head Lighthouse, where we're going to spend 2 nights there in the Keeper's Cottage, which could be great, and then after that we're going over to the Hook Head. Oh, that's great. It'll be great fun. And I have a few spaces left if anybody would like to come. You know, just get in touch with me. Go on my website, johneaglephotography.com or johneaglephoto.com. I've got 2 websites. johneaglephotography.com is the lighthouse dedicated one, just nothing but lighthouse pictures on that one. Or there's johneaglephoto.com, which covers everything, with lighthouses and my landscape photography and other things, you know.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much as well. Thank you for interviewing me, Maria.
John Eagle can be contacted at johneaglephoto.com, and this is Maria Burke for Life FM Cork. Why you started photographing lighthouses?
Because they're